Hey everyone, how's it going? My name's Drew Williams and I'm a cinematographer, and today we're here to talk about the new Sirui 24mm Anamorphic lens. In this review we'll go over some tech specs, the things that really stood out to me, and of course some test footage. So why anamorphic? Why couldn't we just use a standard 24mm lens and be on with our day? We wouldn't have to worry about the de-squeezing and everything like that. It provides a very cinematic and quality look that you can only get with an anamorphic lens. You'll get that nice oval bokeh. You'll get those nice flares from the sun if it's hit at the right angle. You'll also see some beautiful blue light streaks when you get direct light sources hitting the lens. So first things first, let's go over what's in the box. So in the box, of course, you'll get the 24mm anamorphic lens, the front lens cap, a rear lens cap, the lens pouch, and an instruction manual. So it's a 24mm F2.8 anamorphic lens with a 1.33 times horizontal aspect ratio, which is equivalent to about an 18mm lens. It can later be de-squeezed from an APS-C sensor, and you can get a 2.4:1 aspect ratio, which is what you're seeing right now. So Sirui has made many different mount options for the mirrorless cameras. You can get an MFT mount for like a Z-Cam, a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Cam 4K, or a Panasonic camera. You can get an E-mount for a Sony, which is what you'll be seeing from my test footage, an X-mount for Fuji, an EF-M mount for Canon, and a Z-mount for Nikon. One of the things that really stood out to me was how lightweight it was, but how it was built in an aluminum housing. It comes in barely over 1.5 pounds, which is extremely light for an anamorphic lens. It's important to mention that this is Sirui's third anamorphic lens that they have released. First it was the 50mm, the 35mm, and now we have the 24mm. Let's go over some of those degrees from an APS-C sensor. So with Sirui's 50mm anamorphic lens, you'll get a 36.96 degree field of view. With their 35mm anamorphic lens, you'll get a 49.81 degree field of view. And with this 24mm anamorphic lens, you'll get a 68.8 degree field of view. Using an anamorphic lens actually helps capture more horizontal information without compromising height. This front element actually compresses the longer dimension image, which allows it to fit in your sensor space. So when you de-squeeze that in post-production, you get a very nice cinematic and quality feel to your video. Since we now have a wider field of view at 24mm, that creates a very expansive background and horizon. Another thing that I noticed about this lens was how tack sharp it was. It's probably one of the more sharper anamorphic lenses that I've ever used. Even at f2.8, my subject right in frame was super sharp, but also created a nice depth of field, and we got that nice oval bokeh in the background. Using anamorphic lenses in the past, they've been extremely heavy and bulky. I've had to rent them because they're so expensive. And now, Sirui has just made this so affordable and packs such a punch for its size. You really do get that cinematic quality footage that you've been looking for from the rental house, except now you get to keep it in your camera bag. The feeling of the lens is absolutely incredible. The lens housing is made from aluminum alloy, and the aperture and focus rings are actually made from copper. I was super impressed by how smooth the aperture and focus rings were. They were tight, not super loose. The focus ring has 190 degrees of rotation, which allows you to get your subject extra tack sharp. This smooth aperture ring goes from 2.8 all the way up to f16, which allows you to dial in your depth of field depending on what you're shooting. And again, I can't mention enough, the price of this thing compared to other anamorphic cinematic lenses is just uncomparable. Even the 50mm and 35, now you can add the 24mm to your collection and have that cinematic look without breaking the bank. It truly is a revolution in filmmaking. Thank you guys so much for sending it to me to test out and review. I hope you guys enjoyed the test footage, and I would highly recommend it as a filmmaker if you wanted to get into anamorphic lenses and didn't want to break the bank. This is the lens for you. So if you have any questions for me, feel free to hit me up in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video.